Well folks, welcome to the latest video. So this is now a continuation of the 1960s outboard motor video. So in this video we're going to finally get this off. Take out some seals, replace some seals, do a few other things. Maybe do a heat treatment on the puller dog which we just acquired, and one or two other things. So enjoy watching folks. Wow, look at this. Finally got this damn thing off. That took a long time. Grinding away at the top of the bolt head. Nothing else worked. Absolutely nothing. We tried everything. We tried impact drivers and God knows what. So this zinc cast corrosion is like a white corrosion. It is worse than rust jacking. It just jams the bolts up totally solid. You cannot move them for the life. And because they put virtually no access here, you can't get grips in there, and you can't get anything to turn that, because that's actually a captured nut really at the other side there. And the Allen key tends to just strip out after a while because it just can't take the pressure, and it's absolutely impossible to get these things off. So this is what they look like, and you can just see, especially that one in the middle there, it just sets like concrete, and it's zinc corrosion. You get the same thing with aluminium too, and aluminium oxide of course is very hard, and it just sets rock solid and it will not move. Absolutely nothing shifts it. I literally had to grind the tops off the screws and give them a good whack from the other end. So this is a close-up of the Chinese drill bits. So if you're wondering if these are any good, they are fantastic. They are absolutely amazing. So the top one there, we haven't used that at all. Never needed it. And this is done 4 screws, I think. This bottom one, and it needs cleaning up a bit, but it's still very sharp. It's still able to grind away a tensile bolt pretty successfully using a hand drill. And absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So 10 out of 10 to China for that one. I'm amazed that just comes out, to be honest. I have never been that lucky before. So once that pin is out, this can be withdrawn. So that'll need to be cleaned up a little bit, I would think. It seems to me that there's no seal at the top here, so the water pressure must just come straight out the top, and then because there's pressure generated inside, you get some coming through here into the motor. That's pretty interesting actually. I did buy O-rings for this, which I think I showed you in an earlier video. You see just how rock solid that still is. You cannot even rock it back and forth. It just sets like concrete, that stuff. It's amazing. You see there, it's not coming out that easily. You think you'd just be able to tap it and it would just come through, but no, I don't think so. Really need a way of doing this without actually cracking the casing or anything like that. That's pretty difficult actually. So even after doing that, it is still rock solid. Still not doing it. So I've got a copper rivet here with a big flat head on it, so I'll give that a try and see what happens. So that big flat head should allow it to be positioned, really. And it's gonna get squashed. Oh, look at that! So I hope that the manufacturers of zinc cast housings are actually watching this, because you need to solve this problem. There you go, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that, it sets like concrete. Absolutely rock solid. So I sincerely hope that newer engines are not doing this, but I bet some of them are. So to the top of the housing here, and that looked like an oil seal, but it isn't actually, it's a steel bush. So this part here appears to be part of the exhaust. Okay, so the reason that I took the last stage off is that I wasn't really sure how to release the impeller, and I actually thought that if you took that off there might be a detachment, because some outboard motors have a detachment so you can lift the whole thing off so you can work on it. Anyway, it seems that these are a bit older technology and they don't have that kind of thing, so I think what we're seeing here is probably that is part of the exhaust, I would think, there. And it's possible that some of the exhaust comes down this area. I'm not really sure how that works at the moment, but I'll point it out when I find out. So I'm going to have a look into here with the borescope. We've just got a bicycle pump. You get these with most bicycle pump kits, well, most valve kits anyway. It's just like a tapered plastic fitting, and we're just putting some pressure into it, and I can feel pressure coming back down here, and there was a bit of resistance to start with, but there's not much now. But there is still resistance, which I would have expected you wouldn't have a lot of resistance. But there is some. There's not a lot, and I guess it depends on how much pressure the pump can actually generate to push up there. But it is open. So I'm just going to give a quick check over with a straight edge, because we did a lot of hammering on this thing. So if you look at it sideways, you can see whether there's light coming through it or not. You can see there's a bit of grunginess because of the corrosion and what have you, but I'm not seeing, if I look through that, I'm not seeing a lot of light coming through. So I think we haven't disturbed it that much. There doesn't appear to be a gasket on the top there, because I think this is part of the exhaust, this top part, so it's not quite as critical as see there, I think it's jamming on that, and that was one of the ones where we were hammering away. See, this is where we were hammering to get the concrete off. So as I kind of said, I took these off because I wasn't sure how to get the impeller off. and I want to be able to start the engine without the impeller on the motor. So I'm not really sure if you need silicone on this, but I'm going to put a little bit on, because you don't want kind of seawater to sit in there, do you? So what I'm putting on here is a bit of moly grease just at the top there. That's where the bronze bearing sits. This shaft does rotate. I can't see any other way that could go, so it must be right. There it goes. I think that probably goes over like that. Fact. Yeah, I think that's correct. So what I'm going to do is just put 2 of the pegs in before I screw it down, just to sort of locate it onto the gasket material, which is so these pieces here, they have like a captured nut at the back, which in theory should stay. So you might be wondering, why did he bother with this particular outboard motor? Well, the reason is that I wanted to make a video about trying to get a really crusty old motor running again. So I know that it's not of any great value. I'm not trying to kid myself that it is or anything, don't worry about that. See what I mean? That is really tricky to get something into. So I'm going to do these up quite tight, and I don't know how tight they're supposed to be, but I think that's on. If I click the change lever up and down, you should see that move, and that is a lot smoother than it was before, I can tell you now. And now if we turn this, we're not getting so much drag, because there's not as much dirt in there. Okay, so to get this back, we're going to get this seal out and then measure the seat and then measure the shaft and work out put another seal on there. That goes below the impeller, so I don't think it'll get damaged. So what I thought was, we had a little bit of a problem getting the last one out. So what I thought was I would create a washer like this and then get it behind the seal and then put a bolt in there. So I haven't really got a very long stout bolt for that at the moment, but I do have a bolt. It's just not really that big, but it might work, so we'll give it a try. So that'll fit in or not. Either it will or it won't. Oh, it's in there. Right, so the tricky bit now is to drop a screw down the back. So I got this magnet thing from the booty, so that's just on a magnet. Well, that didn't work because the magnet is too wide. So there it is. I used a piece of plasticine on a screwdriver, which I'll probably be able to show you in a minute, but I need something to stop that from falling out. So, a piece of steel over there, which I found in the garage. Well, it's doing something, folks. What it is, I'm not sure. But it's certainly doing something. It's pulling something out. Whoa. Whoa, drama. Well, it didn't work. So, back to the old method. Okay, so we got the old seal out. Used the old-fashioned method, unfortunately. It was a nice try anyway. This particular seal doesn't have a lot of metal across the front bit, which the last one did. So I think with the last one it might have worked, but this one didn't work. So anyway, this is a 19 by 10 by 7, I think. And we haven't scratched this or anything, so should just be able to get a seal to put in there now. So just a quick update on this little tool we made. It did actually pull the thing out, but the washer got bent because the nut isn't really big enough, and when you file a bit off the washer, you weaken it quite a bit at the edges there. So I think this kind of tool would work, but you need to have probably slightly thicker metal than that. Okay, just as a heads up on this, this particular seal we've just taken out, this stops the water. This is the impeller just here. This stops the water which has been drawn in through the bottom of the motor, going down into the propeller sump, and the propeller sump of course fits on there like that. So this is your propeller sump, and this is full of quite a thick gear oil, which you fill up with that from the bottom, and then that is the air hole for it. So underneath there's another oil seal just here, which is for the gear change. That one is pretty tight actually. I think I'm just going to leave that one. So that's okay. So that's what they're for. You have to have the propeller sump oil seal, because otherwise you'd end up with water mixing with the oil and you end up with a milkshake in the sump, and you won't get proper lubrication and you'll get corrosion too. So alright, so I ordered this seal, and I ordered it from Four Bearings in Coventry, and it literally came the next day. That is very good service, I have to say. There you go, the seal is in. It's still a bit loose, but you know, we've just got to go for it. Okay, so the difference with this one is we actually have a nut on it. Now we've got a nut there, so we don't need the great big chain grip thing. Well, we'll just nope, no success. Damn it. So here's the reason why. There you go. They're supposed to be 27 and it's 26 and about a quarter. Now this is not a very accurate gauge, but it's not that far off. So I think that's probably our problem here. We got slightly badly made pipe fittings. Damn it. So far that's flywheel 5, avian 0. Okay, so we're coming to the end of this little video now. Our latest attempt at getting the flywheel off has completely failed. However, we got a seal, and we got the seal on, but we're not much closer to starting the engine, unfortunately. So that brings us to the end of this little video. Thanks very much for watching, folks. Bye.